Hey Mountaineers! I hope you're doing well today. I'm getting ready to start reading chapters 9, 10, and 11 from Pax because they're a little bit shorter. But I just want to make sure that these chapters are really best for 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders because this book is for part of Battle of the Books and some of the content is really for older kiddos. So my kindergarten, 1st, and 2nd grade friends who I love so very much, I'm going to be reading another book, adding another book of read-alouds for you today too. But this should really be for 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, okay? All right, so here we go. Chapter 9. We're back to Pax in this chapter, and remember that there's going to be some times where Pax is talking, and you can't see the text, but it's written in italics, so we know that Pax is not really talking, but thinking and sharing his thoughts with the other foxes. This is my dog, Jack, right here. We thought, and here's Emma, we thought you might want to see my family too, so that you can see that we are doing okay. So hopefully he's going to be a good cattle dog back there while I read the story, okay? All right, chapter 9. Approaching the meadow from the forest above, Gray stopped suddenly, nose in the air. Again. He lifted his muzzle to test the scent more carefully. Stronger. Pax, already hesitant, tensed. Gray hurried to the edge of the trees. A loner is challenging me. He wants this territory, but his display is for the young vixen's benefit. She will choose a mate this winter. Pax followed and took in the scene below him. 4 foxes dotted the meadow. Bristle and Runt stood together, their black-tipped ears pricked forward warily toward the other 2, who faced each other on a ledge of rock halfway down. One of these was a vixen, darker than Bristle and big-bellied with kits. The other was a large male with rough, tawny fur. His hackles were up and his left ear was split. Gray barked to announce his presence. The challenger spun off the ledge, an arc of blood spraying from his ear, and bolted down the meadow. Gray picked his way down the hillside, Pax following. As Gray passed Bristle and Runt, his very presence seemed to calm them, as if he were an unseen hand stroking their backs. As soon as he passed, Runt danced his excitement at seeing Pax, but Bristle curled a lip and hissed. Remember that Bristle and Runt are the 2 foxes that Pax met a couple chapters ago, and Bristle is very protective of her brother, and she does not really like right now Pax. Pax hurried after Gray. When Gray climbed to the ledge beside his mate, Pax dropped to its base and sat, respectful. Gray's mate greeted him with affection. Then she shared news. The wind this morning was from the west. It brought the scent of fire. We must move soon. She looked out at Pax. The outsider smells of humans. Bristle and Runt edged closer, ears cocked towards Gray's response. He was returning to the humans he lived with in the south. I will travel with him to search for a suitable place to move. He and I will rest, then leave tonight. Behind him, Bristle growled again, and Pax felt the urge to run. His boy. He wanted only to find his boy. But instinct told him he needed to rest and food first. He signaled his agreement, and then Gray and his mate glided silently into the green meadow. Runt bounded over and tumbled into Pax. He dropped the toy soldier from his cheek, inviting Pax to play. Bristle jumped between them and swatted the toy away. Humans, remember the danger. Runt retrieved the toy and displayed it between his teeth, defiant. Pax sensed that Runt was now in more trouble than before, and that he was the cause. He'd felt that way often with his boy and the father, and one of his strategies had been to disappear if that would protect his boy from the man's anger. He backed away, but Bristle was not satisfied. Stay away from the human stinker, she warned her brother. Remember the danger. Pax took a step closer. My humans are not dangerous. Runt seemed alarmed by this, as if Pax had issued a challenge. He darted uphill toward his den entrance, but his sister was quicker. She blocked him, and when he tried to slink away in another direction, she restrained him with a heavy paw until he stilled in defeat. All humans are dangerous. Pax's fur ruffled in a shiver at the scene Bristle conjured then. Wind, cold and howling and heavy with the threat of snow. Pax recognized that wind. The story she was about to relate would end with blood on the snow and cold steel jaws. Bristle bared her fangs at Pax and then began. Okay, now we're going to do chapter 10 and we're going to go back to Peter. So we'll come back to that story with Pax in a second. So chapter 10, he's struggling with that injury still, even though Vola tried to help him. So let's see how far he's gotten. At the jog in the wall, where he'd seen the deer, Peter stopped. There was blood already. He'd stumbled and ripped the open, tender web of skin at the base of his thumb on a jagged splinter, and buckets of sweat. His arms trembled from the strain of lifting his weight for only those few minutes, his palms already raw on the rubber grips, and the throbbing in his right foot menaced like thunder. But none of that was what was wrong. It wasn't even the prospect of returning to his grandfather's grim house. He was going in the wrong direction. He wheeled around. He stabbed the ground and swung over it, stabbed and swung until he planted himself in the doorway of Vola's barn again. He drew himself up tall. No. Vola's head snapped up. She shot him a warning scowl, but on her face Peter read a flash of something else. Fear. I'm not going back, he said more firmly. Whether you help me or not, I'm going to get my fox. Help you? Peter moved to the bench and hoisted himself up. Teach me. What you said about moving from my arms, about getting stronger. You learned how to get around on one leg. Teach me. You were a medic. Set my bone, please. I'll do whatever you tell me to. He picked up the cider and drank it down to show his trust. Then I'll leave, but even if you won't help me, I'm going to get him. Vola put her hands on her hips and lowered her head to eye him. A tamed fox set loose in the wild? You know he might be dead, don't you? I know, and it would be my fault. If he's dead, I need to bring him home and bury him. Either way, I'm going to go back to find my fox and bring him home. Vola studied Peter as if she were seeing him for the first time. So which is it? You going back for your home or for your pet? They're the same thing, Peter said, the answer sudden and sure, although a surprise to him. And you're going to do this no matter who tries to stop you? Because it's the right thing for you at your core? Vola made a fist and thumped her chest. Your core. Is that true? Peter waited before answering, because this woman, maybe crazy, maybe not, had asked it as if the fate of the world depended on it. But the answer was the same as it would have been if he'd blurted it out. The answer would have been the same if he'd waited a lifetime to think it over. He thumped his own chest and felt the muscle on his heart beat. Yes. In fact, there's nothing else I know at my core. The woman nodded. Well, you're 12. That's old enough to know your own self, I expect. I'm not about to go messing with that. So all right. You'll help me? I'll help you. Vola extended her hand to shake. On 3 conditions. Now we stop there and go back to Pax to read chapter 11. Now, in this chapter, we hear a lot from Bristle. Remember at the end of chapter 9, it ended this way. The last sentence was, Bristle bared her fangs at Pax and then began. So she's going to get ready to tell us the story of why she feels so negative towards humans. And that's why it's really important that only our oldest mountaineers are listening to this story, because this part's a little sad. And it's about why humans are, why Bristle feels so threatened by humans, okay? Chapter 11. My brother was born in my mother's second litter. They came early in the season. Last year, spring came late. Snow fell and did not melt. The earth stayed frozen beneath it. I lived nearby. I helped hunt. All day long, our parents and I searched for food because the kits were always hungry, but there was never enough. 2 of his litter mates died on the same day. The farm, our mother urged. At the humans' farm, there was always fat mice in the warm barn. At the humans' farm, there were eggs in the chicken coop. Our father would not risk it. When her 3rd kit grew too weak to stand, our mother defied him. Runt raised his head and gave Bristle a pleading look. Bristle ignored it. She led the strongest of her new kits, my sister, and me to the humans' farm. Runt edged closer and pressed his nose into Pax's shoulder. Instantly, the vixen lashed at his cheek, although Pax noted she did not use her claws. Runt dropped to the ground. The ground around the barn was cleared of snow by many footprints, animal as well as human. The air was rich with the smell of rodents. Our mother headed for a gap in the wooden boards near the base, with us a few tail lengths behind. Just before she reached it, steel jaws sprang out of the earth with such speed that the air snapped. Our mother screamed. The clamp held her front leg. The more she thrashed, the deeper the metal cut. She began biting at her leg to free it. Every time we tried to come near, she ordered us away. Our father appeared. He had followed our tracks. He chased my sister and me back into the brush and ordered us to stay there. Then he set to helping our mother. The scene she conveyed was of two foxes, bonded by both an old love and a new fear. The fear was so terrible that their eyes rolled back in their sockets, so vivid that Pax could smell its sharp scent. Runt began to whimper, a piteous sound that made Pax want to comfort him, but Bristle warned him to keep away. A human came then, with a stick. Both our parents screamed at us to run home. We stayed, we saw. The humans raised the stick in front of our eyes, and our father and mother burst into blood and fur, and shattered bones splattered over the snow. Runt whined and backed away toward the den again, and again Bristle stopped him. My sister and I could not leave our parents' bodies. Darkness fell, and the next day came, and still we hid in a pile of wood beside the barn. Finally we set out, but that night it began to snow. The snow blotted out all sound and scent. Lost, we crawled under a sweep of pine boughs, and I curled myself around my sister, who was so much smaller. In the morning, she died. When the snow stopped, I saw that we had sheltered beneath the great pine at the top of our ridge. We had been within sight of home. The image she shared then, her sister's frozen corpse at the base of the mighty pine, seemed to exhaust her. Why do we have no family, brother? Runt turned to Pax. Because of the humans, we have no family. Bristle turned her golden eyes on Pax, inviting a challenge. If he could have, he would have made her know every kindness of every day with his boy, but the hatred she had for humans was deep and fair. Instead, he offered his cheek in sympathy. Bristle turned away and ordered her brother into the den. So that's the end of chapter 11. So now we know why Bristle feels so much hatred towards humans is because they hurt her family so badly. And so that's something to keep in mind as we continue forward, learning more about Pax and more about Bristle, and as the relationship grows, okay? All right, kiddos, I will see you really soon with some more chapters, and then I'm getting ready to go do a read aloud for our kindergarten, first, and second graders. I miss you so much. Bye.